Why does God delay love for his chosen ones? Why does it feel like everyone else is finding relationships, building families, walking in love, while you're still waiting? The waiting can feel lonely, even unfair. But what if the delay is not rejection? What if it's divine protection? God's timing is never rushed, and it's never late. He's not holding love from you to punish you. He's preparing you for a love that lasts. Sometimes we want what looks good now, but God is holding out for what will still be good years from now. He knows the hidden struggles, the unseen flaws, the battles you don't see coming. And in his love for you, he says, not yet. That delay is not a denial. It's a safeguard. The truth is, you are not missing out. While you see others in relationships, remember that God's chosen ones are called to a different standard. You're not called to settle for almost right or good enough. You are called to walk into a love that reflects his faithfulness. And that kind of love requires preparation of your heart and of the heart meant for you. Think about this. The person God is aligning for your life is also on their journey. They might be learning patience, growing in character, or healing from wounds. The delay is God's way of shaping both of you, so when you finally meet, you'll fit together in a way only he could design. If he rushed it, it would break. If he holds it, it will last. So when you're tempted to question the silence, shift your perspective. God delays love not because you're forgotten, but because you're chosen. Chosen for a love that will reflect his grace, his timing, his glory. The delay is the evidence that you are set apart for something greater than what the world calls love. Why does God delay love for his chosen ones? That's the question that lingers in many hearts, a question that echoes in the quiet moments when you see others celebrating engagements, posting wedding photos, holding hands, starting families, while you're left wondering if God has overlooked you. It's easy to feel forgotten, like your prayers are bouncing off the ceiling unanswered. But pause for a moment. What if this delay is not about withholding, but about protecting? What if the waiting isn't punishment, but preparation? God's love is too intentional to be careless with your heart. He doesn't operate on human schedules. His timing doesn't bow to your calendar or the pressure of society. He moves in seasons, and each season has a divine purpose. When God delays love, it is not because he wants you to suffer. It is because he wants you to thrive. He knows the details you cannot see. He knows the motives of people's hearts, the secret battles, the character flaws that may not appear in the beginning. He knows the weight of your calling and how much strength you'll need in your partner to walk beside you. So he waits, he delays. And though it feels like delay to you, to him it is alignment. You see, God is not building a temporary romance for his chosen ones. He is crafting a love story that carries his fingerprint, one that stands through storms, one that doesn't fade when emotions shift. That takes time. You can plant a flower and it will bloom in weeks, but it will also fade just as quickly. Plant a tree and it takes years, but once it's grown, it gives shade, fruit, and shelter for generations. God's love story for you is not a flower, it is a tree. He delays because he wants to give you roots that go deep and branches that reach wide. And let's be honest, sometimes we think we're ready when we're not. We believe we're prepared for love, but deep inside there are still wounds, insecurities, and patterns we haven't confronted. If God handed us love too soon, we might sabotage it. We might cling too tightly from fear of abandonment or push too hard from fear of rejection. That's why the waiting is part of the shaping. The delay becomes the place where God heals your heart, strengthens your identity, and teaches you to stand secure in him. So when love comes, it won't replace him, it will reflect him. Think about how many people rush into relationships because they're afraid of being alone. They settle for someone who looks right but doesn't live right. They accept attention instead of waiting for intention. They chase after validation rather than waiting for covenant. And then, months or years later, they're left broken, asking God why it all fell apart. But chosen ones are called to something higher. You cannot afford to settle for what's temporary when God has destined you for what's eternal. The delay is his way of pulling you out of the trap of settling. Maybe the love you thought you wanted wasn't love at all. It was distraction. Maybe the person you cried over wasn't your loss. They were your rescue. Because sometimes rejection is God's redirection. The heartbreak you thought was the end was really the mercy of God shielding you from someone who could not carry your heart well. His delay is evidence of his protection. And while you wait, something powerful is happening. God is not only preparing you, he is preparing them. The one he is aligning with your life may also be in a season of growth. They may be overcoming insecurities, building faith, healing from pain, or stepping into their calling. God delays until both journeys intersect at the right time, in the right season, when both hearts are strong enough to love without breaking, to give without fear, and to build without falling apart. That's why comparison is so dangerous. Looking at someone else's timeline will always make you feel like you're behind, but you're not behind, you're on assignment. Your story is not their story. Their timing is not your timing. What looks like delay in your eyes looks like precision in God's. He is aligning circumstances, moving pieces, arranging steps, ensuring that when the moment comes, it will not be forced. It will be natural, undeniable, and filled with peace. Sometimes the delay is also a test of trust. Can you trust God with the thing you desire most? Can you hand him your heart and believe that he knows how to care for it better than you? Because trust is not built in abundance. It is built in waiting. Trust says, God, even if I don't see it, I believe you're working. Trust says, Even if it hasn't happened yet, I know you are faithful. And when you choose trust over frustration, you begin to walk in peace even before the promise arrives. There's another reason God delays, because he wants you to learn to be whole before you are joined. Too often, people look for relationships to complete them, but wholeness is not found in another person. It is found in God. If you walk into love empty, you'll expect another person to fill the spaces only God can fill, and that will crush them under pressure they were never meant to carry. But when you walk into love whole, you bring peace instead of demand, joy instead of insecurity, partnership instead of dependency. The delay gives you the space to become whole in him, so you can love freely rather than cling desperately. And don't think for a moment that God is ignoring your prayers. Every tear, every late night whisper, every silent ache has reached his ears. The delay doesn't mean he hasn't heard. It means he's answering in ways deeper than you realize. Sometimes his best work happens in the silence. The caterpillar doesn't become a butterfly in the open. It transforms in the hidden. In the same way, God does his most powerful shaping in seasons that feel quiet, and when the time is right, what he has been preparing will be revealed. There's beauty in delay if you look closely. Think about it, the love you're waiting for is rare, set apart, and not like everyone else's. It takes faith to wait, it takes courage to trust, and it takes strength to believe when nothing seems to be moving. That's why chosen ones experience delay, because chosen love is different. It's not just about romance, it's about destiny. It's not just about happiness, it's about purpose. When God joins two people, it's not only for their good, but for his glory. And glory takes time. So while you wait, don't waste the waiting. Use it. Grow deeper in your faith. Strengthen your vision. Heal from your past. Learn who you are in God, because when love comes, it won't complete you. It will complement the strength you already carry. And you'll be ready, not just to receive love, but to sustain it. The delay is not silence. It is God's careful construction. He is building something beautiful, something that will not collapse when storms come. He is aligning your path with someone who will not only hold your hand, but will hold your heart with care. Someone who will not only say, I love you, but live it through commitment and sacrifice. Someone who will walk beside you, not pull you away from him. That kind of love cannot be rushed. So the next time you wonder why love seems delayed for you, remind yourself you are not behind, you are not forgotten, and you are not unloved. You are chosen. And chosen ones don't live on ordinary timelines. They live on divine schedules. The waiting is proof that God is writing something greater than you imagine, something worth every moment of patience, something that, when it finally arrives, will make sense of every single delay. When God delays love for his chosen ones, it often feels like a contradiction. How could a God who calls himself love, who designed love, who declared that it is not good for man to be alone, allow so much waiting? That question eats away at the heart when nights feel longer, when loneliness creeps in, when everyone else seems to be moving forward while you feel like you're standing still. But what if God allows this pause not because he forgot about you, but because he treasures you too much to let you fall into something that is less than his best? God has always been a God of timing. From the rising of the sun to the turning of the seasons, he has appointed moments for everything under heaven. Love is no different. Just as the earth waits for spring to blossom after the barrenness of winter, your heart must sometimes endure a season of stillness before it can awaken to the fullness of love. The waiting might not feel comfortable, but it is necessary. If flowers bloomed in the wrong season, they would wither. If fruit ripened before its time, it would rot. Likewise, if love enters your life too soon, it can destroy instead of bless. Think about how often people run ahead of God. They mistake infatuation for love, attraction for destiny, chemistry for covenant. And when the fire of initial passion burns out, they are left with ashes. But God is not content for his chosen ones to live in cycles of heartbreak. That's why his delays are holy. He stretches time not to test your patience, but to preserve your heart. The love he intends for you isn't built to entertain you for a moment, but to anchor you for a lifetime. The waiting also creates space for God to refine your desires. At first, you may think you know what you want. Maybe you imagined a picture, perfect relationship that looked good from the outside, but lacked substance inside. Maybe you long for someone who met cultural standards, family expectations, or even your own checklist, but who wasn't aligned with your purpose. God delays because he knows what you truly need, not just what you think you want. And in the waiting, he reshapes your vision. He aligns your desires with his will. He makes sure that when love finally comes, you won't sabotage it by chasing shadows of what you thought you wanted. You'll recognize the substance of what you actually need. And isn't it true that waiting often reveals what we're made of? It reveals whether we value God's plan above our own impatience. Anyone can trust God when prayers are answered quickly, but the real test of faith comes when heaven seems silent. Waiting exposes whether our faith is conditional or genuine. Will you still trust him when the clock ticks and the calendar turns? Will you still worship when your arms are empty? Will you still believe his promises even when your heart aches? The chosen ones learn to say yes in the delay. They learn that trust is not proven in blessings received, but in faith held through silence. The delay is not just about you either. It is about the story God wants to write through you. Love for his chosen is not merely personal pleasure. It is kingdom purpose. He joins two lives not just for companionship, but for impact. Your marriage, your love story is meant to reflect his covenant, his faithfulness, his love to the world. That kind of union cannot be thrown together carelessly. It requires divine orchestration. It requires him to mold two hearts, align two paths, and set a foundation strong enough to carry not just your love, but your legacy. That's why it takes time. That's why it feels delayed. Perhaps you've prayed, Lord, why not now? Why not today? And maybe God whispers back, because today you're not ready. Because today they're not ready. Because today the story I'm writing isn't finished yet. God's not yet is always an act of mercy. If he gave you what you begged for too soon, it might break under the weight of your unpreparedness. But when he gives it in his time, it will be able to withstand storms, distance, trials, and every attack the enemy tries to throw against it. You see, love is not just about feelings. Feelings are fragile. They rise and fall with moods and seasons. Love is about commitment, sacrifice, patience, forgiveness. And those qualities are not learned overnight. They are forged in the fire of waiting. They are strengthened in the silence. They are matured in the delay. God is using this season to shape you into the kind of person who can love well, not just love passionately. He is teaching you to be faithful, to be forgiving, to be strong, to be whole. And those lessons cannot be rushed. The truth is, waiting feels heavy only when you believe you're waiting alone. But in reality, God is with you in the delay. He walks with you in the loneliness. He hears the questions you're too afraid to say out loud. He holds every tear that falls when you feel overlooked. The waiting may feel like silence, but his presence is never absent. He is there closer than your breath, guiding, guarding, preparing. And when you begin to see him in the waiting, the delay becomes less about emptiness and more about intimacy. It becomes less about what you lack and more about who you're becoming. What if this delay is actually God's way of giving you more of himself before he gives you someone else? What if he's teaching you to be satisfied in him, to draw joy from his presence, to discover purpose in his plan, so that when love comes, it adds to your life instead of becoming your life? Because if you make a person your everything, you will collapse when they fail. But if you make God your everything, then love becomes an overflow, not an anchor. The delay also exposes counterfeits. While you're waiting, people may approach you who seem right but aren't aligned with God's plan. Their words may sound sweet, their intentions may look pure, but their heart isn't for you. Without the waiting, you might have fallen into their arms and called it love. But in the delay, God sharpens your discernment. He allows you to see through charm and beyond appearances. He equips you to recognize his voice above the noise. That's why chosen ones don't just fall in love, they discern love. They don't just accept whoever comes along, they wait for the one God has set apart. And yes, the waiting is painful. It tests your patience. It challenges your faith. It presses against your deepest desires. But think about this, anything precious takes time. Diamonds are formed under pressure over years. Gold is refined through fire. Masterpieces are painted with slow, deliberate strokes. Why would love, the most sacred human covenant, be rushed? God's delays are not careless. They are deliberate acts of love, shaping something eternal. So while you wait, what should you do? You grow, you deepen your walk with God, you invest in your purpose, you strengthen your character, you learn to love yourself, forgive yourself, and build yourself. Because when love arrives, it will not be the beginning of your life. It will be the continuation of a life already rooted in God. And that kind of love will not overwhelm you. It will empower you. Chosen ones, your delay is not your defeat. It is not proof that you are less worthy, less loved, or less seen. It is the opposite. It is proof that you are set apart. God does not delay what is common. He delays what is rare. He delays what is valuable. He delays what carries eternal weight. And when he finally releases it, you will see why the waiting was necessary. When you carry a divine calling, everything about your life has a different timeline. Others may find love quickly, almost effortlessly, but that does not mean they have found what you are waiting for. Some unions are built on convenience, others on circumstance, but your union is meant to be built on covenant. And covenant takes time. God is not just connecting hearts, he is connecting purposes. He is weaving together two destinies that will multiply his glory on earth. That is why the delay feels longer for you, because the weight of what you are carrying is heavier. And sometimes the waiting is not only about love, it is about pruning. God prunes away attachments that cannot go with you. He removes distractions that might have stolen your focus. He closes doors that you thought were opportunities, but were really traps. Each closed door is an act of mercy, even if at the time it feels like rejection. You might look back one day and thank him for every no that broke your heart, because without those no's, you would never have been ready for the yes that he had prepared. The delay also gives you space to grow in resilience. Love is beautiful, but it is not effortless. Every relationship, no matter how ordained, will face storms. There will be moments of misunderstanding, seasons of stress, trials that test your unity. If God gave you love before you were resilient, the storms might drown you. But through the delay, he teaches you how to stand. He teaches you patience, forgiveness, endurance. These qualities are not glamorous, but they are the foundation of lasting love. Without them, love burns quickly and fades. With them, love endures all things. And while you wait, you begin to discover the power of contentment. Contentment doesn't mean you stop desiring love. It means you refuse to let the absence of love steal your joy. It means you learn to live fully, laugh deeply, and dream boldly, even before love arrives. Contentment is not settling for less. It is resting in God while trusting Him for more. And when love finally comes, it will not be coming to rescue you from emptiness, but to join you in fullness. That kind of union is stronger, healthier, and more life-giving. Another reason God delays is because He wants your story to testify. People are watching you, friends, family, even strangers. They see how you wait. They see how you respond when others move ahead. They notice whether you crumble in bitterness or rise in faith. And when your love story finally unfolds, it will not just bless you, it will inspire others. They will see that waiting on God was worth it. They will see that His faithfulness always outlasts frustration. Your testimony will become someone else's hope. And do not underestimate the spiritual warfare around love. The enemy knows that a God-ordained union is dangerous. It's dangerous because two are stronger than one, because unity in Christ shakes the kingdom of darkness. That's why the enemy will do anything to distract you, delay you, or deceive you into settling. He will send counterfeits disguised as blessings. He will whisper lies that you are unworthy or forgotten. But God's delay is a shield. He keeps you hidden until the right time, so the enemy cannot sabotage what He has planned. The waiting also exposes the truth about your faith. Is your faith in timelines or in God? Is your hope in marriage or in Christ? God wants to anchor your faith so deeply in Him that when love comes, you will enjoy it but not idolize it. Because anything you idolize will eventually disappoint you. But if your faith is anchored in God, no delay can shake you and no blessing can replace Him. That's the strength He wants for you. And maybe right now you feel like you've been waiting forever. You've prayed, you've fasted, you've trusted, and still nothing has changed. Let me remind you, silence does not mean absence. Delay does not mean denial. God is always working, even when you cannot see it. Seeds sprout underground before they ever break through the soil. Babies grow in the womb before they are revealed to the world. In the same way, your love story is already in motion. It is hidden, but it is alive. And in the right time, it will be revealed. Do not let loneliness trick you into thinking you are unloved. You are loved right now, deeply, completely, eternally, by the one who designed love itself. And when you stand in that truth, loneliness loses its grip. You realize that even in waiting, you are never truly alone. God's presence fills the spaces you thought were empty. His love sustains you until the love He has prepared for you arrives. The delay also builds appreciation. When you have waited, prayed, and trusted for years, you will never take love for granted. You will treasure it. You will value it. You will protect it. People who rush into love often grow careless with it because it came cheaply to them. But chosen ones know the price of waiting. They know the H of patience. And when love finally arrives, they treat it as the sacred gift it is. So, what feels like delay is actually design. What feels like silence is actually preparation. What feels like absence is actually protection. God delays love for His chosen ones because He is writing stories that last, shaping hearts that endure, and building unions that glorify Him. The longer you wait, the more you begin to see that God's ways are higher than yours. You thought love was just about companionship, but He shows you that love is also about calling. You thought love was about meeting needs, but He shows you that love is about sharpening purpose. You thought love was about romance, but He shows you that love is about covenant. The delay pulls back the curtain on your shallow definitions of love and replaces them with His eternal vision. And when you begin to understand love His way, your heart is transformed. You stop asking, "Why not yet?" and start saying, "Lord, whenever You choose, I'll be ready." That shift is the very thing He's been waiting for. There are moments in the waiting when it feels unbearable. You watch the calendar flip month after year after year, and you think, and maybe I missed it. Maybe I'm not chosen after all. But chosen does not mean immediate. Chosen means reserved. It means God has placed you aside, not because you are forgotten, but because you are priceless. Think of a jeweler. The ordinary stones sit in the open, handled by many, touched by countless hands. But the rare, precious stones are locked away, guarded, displayed only at the perfect time. You are that rare jewel. You are not for everyone. You are hidden, not wasted. And when God chooses to reveal you, it will be undeniable. The waiting is also a season of learning how to carry love when it comes. Because love is not just about receiving, it is about giving. And giving requires maturity. If you are still self-centered, still insecure, still driven by fear, love will crush you. But the delay shapes you into someone who can give love freely, without manipulation, without fear of rejection, without the need to control. You learn that real love is selfless, patient, kind. And when God finally entrusts someone's heart into your care, you will carry it with wisdom. Think about Joseph in the Bible. He had dreams of greatness, but God delayed the fulfillment for years. Those years were filled with hardship, betrayal, false accusations, and prison. But in those years, Joseph was being prepared. His character was being tested. His faith was being strengthened. So when the time came for his dream to be fulfilled, he was not only ready to receive it, he was ready to sustain it. The same is true for love. The delay is your preparation ground. You are not just waiting for love, you are being prepared to sustain it. And perhaps that's the hardest part. You don't just want love, you want lasting love. You want love that grows deeper with time, not weaker. You want love that weathers storms, not collapses under pressure. You want love that glorifies God, not distracts from Him. And that kind of love doesn't come cheap. It doesn't come quickly. It comes through divine orchestration, through patience, through trust. It comes through delay. So when the enemy whispers that you're missing out, that everyone else is ahead of you, that God has forgotten you, remember this: you are not behind. You are not overlooked. You are not unloved. You are being held back because you are being prepared for something that requires more time. The waiting is not evidence of neglect. It is evidence of intentionality. God is crafting a masterpiece, and masterpieces are never rushed. And let's be honest, sometimes we think we know best. We say, God, I'm ready now. Just give me love. But he sees deeper than we do. He knows the hidden corners of our hearts. He knows the areas we still need healing. He knows the flaws we would rather ignore. And he loves us too much to hand us love before we are whole, because brokenness will break love, but wholeness will nurture it. That's why the delay is also healing. God is using the waiting to make you whole in him, so you don't look to another person to fix what only he can mend. And when you reach that place, when you no longer see love as the answer to your emptiness, but as the overflow of your fullness in God, that is when you are ready. That is when love will not distract you, but join you. That is when it will not pull you from your calling, but push you deeper into it. That is when the delay will make sense. For now, the waiting continues, but waiting with God is never wasted. Every prayer, every tear, every lonely night is shaping you. Every season of silence is strengthening you. Every delay is preparing you. And one day, when the time is right, what he has been weaving in the hidden will be revealed in the open. And you will look back and realize it was never a delay at all. It was always designed. So if you find yourself in a season where love seems delayed, don't let discouragement convince you that you've been forgotten. You have not been overlooked, you have not been left behind, and you have not been denied. You are chosen, and chosen ones are worth the wait. Trust that God's timing is not just about giving you what you want, but about protecting you, preparing you, and positioning you for a love that will last. One day, when it all comes together, you'll see that every unanswered prayer, every silent night, every long delay was not wasted time. It was the very hand of God making sure your story was written perfectly. And when you finally step into that love, you'll understand why it could never have happened a moment sooner, because his timing has always been right on time.